Hi, I'm Brad. Today I got a video update on the Evo 6 Mitsubishi Lancer. Now this particular car was purchased by one of our clients to compete in this year's White Line Tarmac Rally Sprint Series. If you want some information about that, you can do a Google search on the internet and check out White Line Tarmac Rally Sprint here in Sydney at Sydney International Dragway. It's a proper tarmac rally sprint that we hold in the evenings. So what he's doing on this particular car is, as it's come in from Japan, we're slowly progressively doing some mechanical modifications to make the car more reliable, a little bit quicker, but at the same time repairing quite a few years of poor service history whilst it was in Japan, because there are some things that have been modified that are probably not the best, but also at the same time we know this car has some particularly important things which is valuable to do when you're preparing the car for a tarmac rally sprint series. And I'll just show you one my workshop foreman's just shown me, and this is an example. If you ever look at this bush, this is one of the bushes that we've pulled out of the car that was broken. When he drove the car, it was actually collapsed inside that crush tube which sits in the rear diff housing. We'll get around the back and we'll show you. So we've actually replaced it with a poly rear bushing, because some of these parts are a little bit hard to get now. And you can see the rear lower suspension pivots on this aluminium frame here, but at the front of the rear differential, but on the front side, it's got this moustache or this front cross member that takes all the torsion when the engine puts drive and torque through the diff, because this all twists up and down under acceleration and braking. And you'll see this bush here has now been replaced because this one here was all flogged out, and similar bush on the other side has now been replaced with a new poly bush, because some of these bushes are just almost impossible to get from a hard and heavy duty point of view. And of course, whilst we've got it apart, it makes a lot more sense to replace it with a White Line rear adjustable sway bar. It's got the 3-point adjustment on the back, so the owner of the car can dial in or dial out, understeer and oversteer, to make himself have a lot more fun when he's driving the car. Now, one of the things that we've also been checking on this particular car, and we see it more and more often, is the different levels of performance mods. As the Evo 6 went through 7, 8, 9 and 10, inside here is the pump that controls the rear diff and the front center diff. Now, depending on the model Evo, this AYC pump has different controls over the way the active yaw control system works, the stability control, and the way the different model Evos also have snow, tarmac and gravel settings on the dash. So keep an eye on that if you've got an Evo, because over a period of time they do fail over a while because they tend to be a little bit neglected. The fill point for the AYC fluid, which is very specific to Mitsubishi oil, is up inside the boot lid, and a lot of people forget about what it's for. So of course, in the rear of the car, we're replacing a lot of the other heavy duty bushes and putting a lot of White Line parts into the back. And you notice Jax at the moment is fitting this lateral lock adjuster, which stops the sway bar moving sideways when it's pivoting up and down. Sometimes on certain models, the sway bar has a tendency to move sideways out of its normal natural position depending on the shape of the sway bar. And this particular bar from White Line comes with that lateral lock, which is effectively a stopper to stop the sway bar moving sideways when it's pivoting in the poly bush, which is a grease bush. You can see the tail shaft is disconnected from the rear diff, and up the front here you'll see the transfer case on this particular model car is where it comes out of the right angle drive from the front of the gearbox. And you can see we've got the brake calipers hanging down at the moment because we're about to fit some new DBA rotors to it. And you see down on the ground here, the original factory rotors are really badly worn out. And I'll get my cameraman to come in quite close. You can see that lip on the outside of the rotor is a pretty good indicator of just how badly worn that rotor is. So the client's getting us to replace with this rotor here, which has just miraculously appeared on the floor for me. Thanks, Jax. So this is the DBA 5000 series rotor. So what it's got is got an aluminium hat in the middle, which is mechanically connected with these special bolts to the cast iron outer friction surface. Now, the advantage of that is it reduces the unsprung weight. Remember, this is the part that moves up and down when you're driving your car down the road. So the lighter you can make the components that are moving up and down the suspension, the more and quicker the suspension will react to changes in direction and make the car handle a little bit better. But the other advantage is it reduces the amount of mass in the rotor, which reduces the risk of cracking, because these rotors are going to be glowing cherry red when the client's driving at the tarmac rally sprint. The other big advantage is as the rotor wears down and this rotor becomes disposable in its friction condition, You can then replace this rotor and keep the center alloy hat and just replace these bolts with a new outer friction surface. So this particular rotor will then fit with brand new pads. And in this particular situation, we're putting some endless pads in it because the client's going to drive the car pretty hard. There's some other modifications you can see on the car too. Previously, whilst it was in Japan, it had a modified front dump pipe. It's got a modified hot side pipe where it comes out of the bottom of the turbo through a 90-degree bend and into the front mount intercooler. Of course, the outlet of the intercooler on the cold side goes up, and that's what this red aluminium one is, up into the intake of the engine on the outbound pressure side. These are some of the modifications sometimes people do in Japan when they can't buy the right elbows, because as it comes out of the turbo, it goes from a small diameter and a larger diameter. Of course, we've already custom tuned this with race ROM technology, and the car goes a hell of a lot better now. And this particular client's going to have a lot of fun at the next event in a couple of weeks' time. So I hope this video has helped you learn a little bit more about the Evo. A lot of the things that we've spoken about here are common. We've actually already replaced the bushes in the front control arm up in here with some white line poly ones, because again, they were all badly worn out and you could actually feel the wear and tear as you drove down the road. So follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram for more information on your particular car. Make sure you check out mrttuned.com.au for other updates and technical information on your particular car. And remember, we can do custom tuning on your model anywhere in Australia through our partner network. Just contact us and we'll put you in touch with someone to get your car tuned locally using our technology, because we'd really love to help you. In the meantime, my name is Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.